Kata for the sound of the bell. Mind calm, body at ease, breathing quiet, sentiment benevolent. Dharma friends, sitting still in vital silence, wanting nothing, we practice eco-Buddhism together. The sound of the temple bell booms for all to cease from conflict. May the way of Buddha usher in the dawn of non-violent global village forever. Here is the after sound of the bell. Thunder of silence, light after Dharma rain. Om Amoga Varochana Mahamudra Mani Padma Shvala Pravartaya Hum.
Please stand, and as you stand, please smooth out your mat and fluff up your cushion. Good morning, Dharma friends. We will first go for refuge with the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha in Sino-Korean, which is in keeping with our tradition, and then in English. We will begin with the Sino-Korean. If you do not know Sino-Korean or have not sung this chant before, that's okay. This is a sound practice. What matters is the practice. So as soon as you get the hang of it, please throw your voice in. And now in English, in a slightly different version than our usual. Please repeat after me. I go for refuge to the Buddha.
I go for refuge to the Buddha,
My deeply awakened mind.
my deeply awakened mind,
Which must be cultivated to be known fully.
which must be cultivated to be known fully.
I go for refuge to the Dharma.
I go for refuge to the Dharma,
Truth manifesting everywhere.
truth manifesting everywhere,
Which must be cultivated to be known fully.
which must be cultivated to be known fully.
I go for refuge to the Sangha.
I go for refuge to the Sangha,
Deep friendship and interconnection of all beings.
deep friendship and interconnection of all beings,
Which must be cultivated to be known fully.
which must be cultivated to be known fully.
Now, please remain standing for an acknowledgement of our ancestors. On this 23rd day of November in the year 2025, we acknowledge that this land where our temple buildings stand has been the home of Native peoples, the Potawatomi, the Odawa, and the Ojibwe, the Council of the Three Fire Tribes, and also of Black Americans. We know this neighborhood used to be a historically Black neighborhood during times of legally sanctioned racial segregation and legally sanctioned oppression. For our own awakening and for the awakening of all life, may the benevolent energies of our meditation, chanting, and full presence at this service here this morning extend to all beings on this planet and throughout time and space. May there be a deepening of our interbeing. May peace prevail and wars see us. Let us sit once again in meditation for a short retreat. Good morning. Now to bring some movement back into our bodies, please follow along in these simple stretches. Good, beautiful morning, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. We are deeply grateful to see you here, and it is a beautiful one. How many of you are here for the first time? Welcome, welcome. We would be happy to answer. Anybody wearing the gray jammies would be happy to answer your questions after the service. My name is Tong-san. I'm one of the teachers here. My other name is Catherine. And if you have been coming pretty regularly, when you see me up here, you may have a falling feeling in your heart. Oh no, here comes the Darn Diamond Sutra again. Well, actually, no. In my study of the diamond, I've gotten to the part of the sutra that's really hard to talk about. It says, the diamond says, this Dharma cannot be grasped. It cannot be talked about. It is neither a Dharma nor a no Dharma. So what's a girl to do? But the thing is that this sutra also, just after weird stuff like that, it moves its audience to tears. So there's that. But anyhow, so here I am supposed to talk about it. What am I supposed to do? Well, there's a deep current in our tradition that says that the true teaching isn't about words at all. Not about books, not about reading, not about words. So I'm going to tell you a story. Everybody okay with a story?
Yes.
So once upon a time, a very, very long time ago in China, there was a guy whose name was Deshan Xuanjiang. And he was a Buddhist master, and he was an expert in the Diamond Sutra. He called himself the Diamond Sutra King. He knew everything about it. He knew it in Sanskrit, he knew it in Chinese, he'd taken a shit ton of notes, he'd written commentaries, he was the boss. He heard that there were some fools in South China who needed to learn about the Diamond Sutra. So he packed up his trunk full of notes and his trunk full of books. And, it was a cart. And he headed south. And he traveled and he traveled and he traveled, and he got to a mountainous area in the south and was tired and hungry. And he saw that there was a cafe, let's call it a cafe. There was a cafe at the foot of a mountain. So he stopped and tied up his horse and covered up his cart so that his precious books wouldn't get rained on. And he went in to have a cup of tea. And this cafe was run by an old lady. Just an old lady. Your basic old lady who knows how to brew tea and make rice cakes. She was very good at making rice cakes. So he sat down and she came up to him and said, how can I help you? And he said, I'd like some tea, please. And then he said, I am the Diamond Sutra King. And she went, okay. And then she looked out the window and said, what's that out there? And he said, that's my notes. That's my books. That's my Diamond Sutra library. I am the king of the Diamond Sutra. That's so, she said. Well, then I have a question for you. If you can answer it, I'll give you some rice cakes. And if you can't, you get nothing. So Deshan thought, I got this. Said, okay. She said, like it says in your sutra, past mind cannot be realized. Present mind cannot be realized. Future mind cannot be realized. Which mind is it that you want to realize? Deshan had no idea. He just sat there in silence. And the old lady gave him nothing because he couldn't answer. And then she said, there's a monastery on the top of that mountain. I think you need to go and meditate some. So that's what he did. But before he went up to the mountain, he burned everything in the cart. All of his commentaries, all of his books, everything. And then he went up to the monastery at the top of the mountain. And he shut the hell up. So, what's a girl to do? How about nothing? There are some Buddhist jokes, and here's one. It was in a greeting card that used to be tacked up. Is it still on the bulletin board in the kitchen of the old temple? It's a cartoon of the Dalai Lama, looking like the Dalai Lama, and it's his birthday, and someone has given him a box, and the box is open, and he's looking into it, and it's empty. And he's so happy, and he says, "Nothing! Just what I always wanted." But that's what we do when we practice meditation, right? We just sit there and we watch our breath and we watch the thoughts come and go, mostly come and stay, and then every once in a while they go, and then they come back, and then they go, and then they stay, and then they go, and then they come back, and that's what we watch. We're just sitting there. We're not making money for ourselves. We're not making money for other people. We're just being alive. And that is deeply countercultural in this place and time. Here's another Buddhist joke. Don't just do something, sit there. And it's hard. It's really hard. A 2014 psychology study found that people would rather give themselves mild electric shocks than sit by themselves in an empty room without books or screens. Here's a quote from the abstract of this study. In 11 studies, we found that participants typically did not enjoy spending 6 to 15 minutes in a room by themselves with nothing to do but think. That they enjoyed doing mundane external activities much more, and that many preferred to administer electric shocks to themselves instead of being left alone with their thoughts. Most people seem to prefer to be doing something rather than nothing, even if that something is negative. I think that needs to be said again, so I'm going to say it again. Most people seem to prefer to be doing something rather than nothing, even if that something is negative. Artist Jenny Odell wrote a whole book about this, and it's called How to Do Nothing. And we need to be taught that. Because, as she says, and this is a quote from Jenny Odell, nothing is harder to do than nothing. In a world where our value is determined by our productivity, many of us find our every last minute captured, optimized, or appropriated as a financial resource by the technologies we use daily. Close quote. And by the culture we live in daily. That's my addition. So nothing is harder to do than nothing, but Odell argues for doing nothing as a form of political and cultural resistance, taking back our attention and taking back our lives. And that's what our tradition teaches too. And the teaching is everywhere. It's not just in books. It's not just, I love the darn Diamond Sutra, but it's not just in the diamond. It's everywhere. That's why I chose that different version of the refuges this morning. I go for refuge to the Dharma, truth manifesting everywhere, which must be cultivated. So when I get too heady, and I do, Haju, my teacher, our guiding teacher, Haju sends me to scrub the toilet. This is not a punishment. The first time it happens, it feels like a punishment. But then, it's not a punishment. It's a teaching. So imagine, here's a toilet. People have used it for a week or two. The seat has been warmed by many butts. There are all sorts of microbes in there that come from all sorts of different people. They're all swimming around in there, all of them together. There are marks from the people who've used it. There are skid marks. There's a ring. And, my first thought is, ew. But then really, when you think about it, it's actually a beautiful teaching. Those smears, that dark ring at the waterline, it's traces of other beings who've been here and done what they needed to do and then went and did other things that they needed to do. They're just traces of people. So I squirt some detergent into the bowl, and there's a new smell. And the gel, which is blue, sinks and it spreads. And I scrub and there's bubbles. And I send the commands to my hands and they do things. And I scrub and the toilet looks different now. Impermanence. This is good teaching. It's as good as the diamond in its way. And Haju could have just told me this. In fact, she has. The sutras tell me this, but it's not really mine. It doesn't really change me until I clean the toilet myself. And really clean it, like be present, be fully right there when I clean it. So back to the diamond, sorry. The Buddha, so the diamond is a dialogue between the Buddha and his student, his wise-ass student, Subhuti, who thinks he knows everything. The Buddha asks his student, what do you think, Subhuti? Is there any dharma that I've taught? And Subhuti answers, no, indeed, O Lord, there is not. And the Buddha clearly approves of this answer. When Subhuti's wrong, he tells him so. And I think I can see why now. Because what is the Buddha doing in this sutra but teaching Dharma? What is he doing? But he says, no, there is no Dharma that I've taught. And I think I can see why now. Haju could have just told me that bodies decay and that we rot and that we're all connected and that everything is impermanent. And the sutras tell me this, but I don't really learn it until I clean the toilet for myself. One commentator on the diamond says, and I'm quoting, the ultimate truth, or Dharma with a capital D, has not been taught because it cannot be taught. It can only be learned. Wow. The ultimate truth has not been taught because it cannot be taught. It can only be learned. My Dharma brother Iljan, shout out right there, reminded me this week of one of Haju's stories. And correct me if I don't do this right, Haju. This is the one about about her training when her teacher, Samasunim, told her not to read, but just to practice. Don't read those books. Just do the practice. And then he made her priest at this temple. And if I remember right, correct me if I'm wrong here, Haju, but the story goes, you were sort of like, what do I do? oh my God, what am I going to do? I know nothing. And here I am, a priest. That's me imagining Haji, not me. But of course, she had learned much. And she's helped us learn much. So again, the ultimate truth or Dharma has not been taught because it cannot be taught. It can only be learned. So when we're on retreat, the bookshelves are covered. We don't read, we don't write, we don't speak. We do nothing for hours on end, and we learn. And that learning can happen everywhere, not just on the cushion, not just in the library, not just at our desks. So every morning I still read a newspaper. Every morning I go out to retrieve the newspaper, and there's a big oak tree next to my house that was planted when the house was built in 1929. It was planted way too close to the house, and it's going to bring the house down someday. I go out every morning, and the newspaper is out there waiting for me, usually. And every morning before I walk up to the newspaper, and then I do this stretch and look up into the oak tree. And it's different every morning. Because the newspaper has landed in a different place. So my view up into the oak tree is different. Every morning, when I do this, I'm looking up into the sky and seeing the pattern of branches and leaves against the sky. Every morning, the sky is a little bit different. Sometimes it's blue, most of the time it's gray. The leaves used to be green, and of course, now it's an oak tree, so they're brown. Pretty soon there won't be any leaves at all, and what I'll be looking at is just the pattern of branches against the sky. But every morning it's different. And every morning I see something that I've never seen before. And there's nothing really to say about this, except tree, branches, leaves, sky, body, stretch. But there is a deep truth there. I really feel that every morning, that there's some deep Dharma manifesting everywhere there. There's good Dharma there. Buddhist tradition calls this, or at least one word for this is suchness. The Sanskrit and Pali is ta, which sounds like someone knocking at the door. It's reality knocking at your head and saying, da, this is it. This is what it is. And we say that a lot in American English. It is what it is. And we shrug, right? When we say that, it's a way of just shrugging. But in Buddhism, it is what it is the most profound Dharma statement, one of the most profound Dharma statements there is. And I've gotten it, there are no words for this. But being just sort of nailed to your place by the leafness of that particular leaf, by the contrast between the little red square at the center of this mat, of this rug, and the kind of khaki olive green surrounding it. Just the suchness of that, if you're really there with it, can kind of stop you in your tracks. It's kind of amazing that it is simply what it is. When the sunlight falls on this leaf in this particular way, or that the branches make this particular shape against that blue sky this morning. So those little moments of suchness, in the past couple of months, those little moments of suchness have been a real refuge for me. I called it my reset button. You can call it ta-ta-ta, but you can also call it the reset button. And it's been a little refuge every day, those moments. And when I thought of that yesterday, I remembered that version of the refuges that we said together, which is, I confess, my favorite. I go for refuge to the Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, which must be cultivated, to be mindful. I go for refuge to the Dharma, truth manifesting everywhere, which must be cultivated, to be mindful. I go for refuge to the Sangha, deep friendship and interconnection of all beings, which must be cultivated, to be mindful. So Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha are there already. I just have to cultivate them. Teachers and books and sutras can tell me things, but I won't be fully dharmified unless I do nothing and pay attention and learn. So once again, this is the scholar Katsui Sekibao. The ultimate truth or dharma has not been taught because it cannot be taught. It can only be learned. So I had a question for you. If you also can think of moments when suchness, when ta-ta-ta has knocked you on the head and stopped you. A reset button, a refuge. Moments of suchness, or questions, comments, complaints.
Oftentimes when I hear Dharma talks, or when I'm practicing, I think of the times before I was practicing where, looking back now, I was like, oh, that was kind of a practice maybe. One thing I think of talking about such as interesting now is waking up in the morning, particularly when you're having a vivid dream. And there's that moment where you go, what's happening? I was with, who was I with? And then you realize, oh, I'm awake. And I'm in my room, and this is where I live. And that moment is, a really strong moment of awareness. I'm awake and here. And then it quickly fades. And it's like, I'm hungry, I'm going to eat breakfast. But that's one of those things I thought of. It's like, oh, that's kind of suchness. I recognize it for what it is now.
Thank you. Waking up.
This morning at breakfast. So our practice here when we have breakfast together is to, we sit down at the table and we just sit. We don't start eating yet. We wait till everybody has been seated, and then we have a reading from the Dhammapada, and then we have another reading, and then we have a little prayer with the food, acknowledging gratitude for the food. And then we start eating. So while I was waiting this morning, I had a bowl of rice and vegetables and an egg on top. And the egg, there were little wisps of egg that were thinner than a piece of paper. 2 little wisps that were coming off the end. The egg was on top of the steaming vegetables, and the vegetables were making these little wisps go up and down and up and down. And I'm like, wow, if I'd been talking to people, I would have missed that. But it kept going for that whole time. I'm like, yeah, suchness. Okay.
Good morning. You know, my Buddhist monk once told me, he said the 4 maxims of Zen was not in words, outside of scripture, looking into one's nature, pointing directly to one's mind. And the words when he spoke had no particular meaning until I began to practice. He said the hardest thing you're going to do in this lifetime is learn to do nothing at all. He said it takes a lot of discipline to go to your meditation mat and learn to quiet your mind, silence your tongue, and still your body. He said this is the best expression of our Buddha nature. And I wanted to say, when you spoke about the gift to the Dalai Lama was that open box. In chapter 19, called The Just and the Dhammapada, the saying of the Buddha, it says here, and yet it is not good conduct that helps you upon the way, nor ritual, nor book learning, nor withdrawal into the self, nor deep meditation. None of these confer mastery or joy. And it ends, it says, "O seeker, rely on nothing until you want nothing." And that's the goal. And I was going to speak with Haju in private after this service about that. That occurred in my mind after I got off my meditation mat. And it said, nothing is here. And I don't understand where it came from, but it had a particular feeling of pure joy. Nothing is here. And I don't even know what that meant, but I could feel it. Thank you. Love you.
Back at you.
Morning.
Morning.
A lot of my subject matter has fallen off the trees, but I typically take pictures in nature every day. Leaves, flowers, skyscapes, waterscapes, cloudscapes. Because I can't help but notice it, but it does make me pause even longer to see if I can frame the shot right, get a real close-up. I marvel that nature only makes originals. It makes me pause several times a day and just appreciate this incredible beauty. And then later I get to share the love by sending it to friends and family and brighten their day. I love the word suchness.
Morning.
Morning.
One thing that I always try to reflect on when I'm meditating is that I'm not just doing nothing, but I'm also gifting the nothingness by sitting there meditating. I cause no suffering while I sit there in meditation. So it's something I always reflect on.
Thank you.
Moments of suchness are the best moments of my whole life, for sure. There's no question. My favorites are my favorite is a moment of suchness where you get to learn a great practical lesson from. Because you can just be so immersed in it. You get out of it like, oh, what happened? One time. I was walking, and there was this deer, okay, and I looked at this deer, and I looked back at me, and I'm just like, I'm looking at you, you're a deer, but it's looking at me like, what does it think about me? Probably doesn't judge me or assume anything about me the way humans do, because I know that was before work, I was like, I'm gonna go to work, there are all these like, all these ideas about. I think, even when you're trying to express yourself as much as possible, there's just so much mask that's imposed on you, or that you impose on yourself too. But then when in the natural suchness of of without all of that higher cognition stuff, there is this like it's just this like other mammal here, and he's just looking out. I don't know what he's gonna do. He's just moving, and yeah. So I guess like maybe everything that you think about yourself or that other people think about you, how real is that compared to what the deer sees? Yeah. So thank you.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I work as a municipal engineer, which probably put like half of y'all to sleep. But I do pipes, pavement, and politics. I have many clients. They're all townships, a couple cities, Washtenaw County, and I'm kind of the cops. So if someone wants to build something, I have to check it and see if it's safe, is it legal, is it following all the rules. So there's water, there's sanitary, there's storm, there's all these structures. But I kind of like storm the best. So that's taking into account when it rains or when it snows and it melts. And folks who are building things kind of hate storm because the more they build, the more they have to build empty space for stormwater. It's all about having room in the basin or having rain gardens that are very porous. Or you can store water in pipes. You can put the pipes under the pavement, so there's like a hidden catacomb under there that nobody sees, and it doesn't make you any money. It literally just holds space for water. And I love that. I think that's it.
I like how many people mentioned the suchness of nature and the way that we feel when we're out in nature. And I think it's one of those things that's kind of a gateway or a doorway to noticing all of the suchness around us. Because nature is that kind of suchness that pulls you in and is mostly all around us. And it's the kind of thing that's kind of hard to ignore. If you're looking for beauty, you're going to find it outside in nature and seeing other life and that sort of thing, to where that, for me, feels like the beginning of the practice, to then be able to see the suchness of the rug and to be able to see the suchness of my dishes and the daily things. And I definitely feel like nature is a very good stepping stone. And I love what was said about the deer and the animals, because a lot of times I think about that. Anytime I see an animal or a bug, I try to put myself in their shoes, in their fur, I don't know. And that is a truly enlightening moment, and also a feeling of unity, that we're all living life forms on this planet. And even though a millipede is this big, we're not that different from them, if you really think about it or feel about it.
Thank you. Oh.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Hashison.
You may know that we have a program called Temple Stay, and people come and stay for a day or a month, and a week. And we have have several in the last few days, and one of them is Joe, who's right over here. He's a former resident of a Chicago temple and in this temple, and now he's doing Dharma in the church. He's also a musician, so I asked, "Do you like some music?" And so he said, "Sure." And so we decided on that it would be in the evening. And I was downstairs with one of our other visitors from Illinois. Is a little disabled and has quite a few problems. When we heard the music upstairs, when we heard the music upstairs, I said, "Let's go." And so then we walked along the hallway, up the stairs, and then we came into our kind of dining room kitchen and just burst into dancing. It was just such this. It was so beautiful. I think music does that, eh? For us.
I think we're at announcements.
For all of you that are here for the first time, we really appreciate you and we hope you come back again soon. Public services are every Sunday at 10 o'clock. And let's see, there's sign-ups in the, for upcoming events out in the foyer. So you can, and they're in the announcements as well, so. Okay, so, on Mondays, what we do is Cyrus Scholl has a Qigong class, and it's from 6:30 to 8. So if you want to join that, that's good. And that's on Monday.
Here, in this room.
Yeah, it's in this room. Okay, it doesn't say that on here. Okay. All right. Let's see, and I heard this. Oh yeah. Also on Sunday, besides right now, there's a online sangha from 7 to 8:30. There's a Zoom link on the website. Let's see, now what happens else on Tuesday nights? We have yoga with David Black from 6:30 to 8 in this room. And Lotus Sutra Study Group with Chi Jung, who's Cliff Brown is his legal name. And he's over here. Yeah, he's pretending not to be here. And that's every Tuesday from 7 to 8:15. Okay, do we have anything on Wednesday? No. I think that's it. We have our next day of mindfulness, a day of mindfulness we have is offered on November 28th. And our next night of meditation class will be offered December 5th and 6th. Let's see if I okay, now, okay, there's a very big announcement here, and I want you to listen carefully to it. It's about our new committee called the Sangha Care Committee. It's supporting 2 different local initiatives right now, and we are collecting and assembling items of food gatherers for our Kids Lunches for Love program and for the emergency care for seniors, the senior nutrition program. The donation deadline has been extended. Please bring all donations by December 7th at 10 a.m. to the Buddha Hall, and there's a container out there. Now for seniors, what they need is bottled water, first aid kits, flashlights with batteries, small tissue packets, toothbrushes, toothpaste, and a weekly fill box. For children, Lunches for Love, we need non-perishable main dishes like pop-up soup, pasta meal, tuna, chicken salad kits. Side snacks also for children, low sodium, low sugar preferred, and then they won't eat it. Dried fruit, applesauce, fruit cups and crackers, they do like that. Bottled water is another one. Okay, making donations, if you're gonna bring a donation, please bring 5 of each item that you choose. For example, if you choose toothbrushes, bring 5 toothbrushes. A flyer with this information is in the lobby. It looks like this, has all the information on it. And we are grateful to have, okay. We are grateful to all have responded to our fall fundraising campaign, and we invite those who have not yet participated to join us. So far, we have raised $16,479, which is a lot. The temple is entirely supported by your generous donations. There's a fishbowl in the foyer for monetary donations, as well as electronic credit card service.
That's all. Recovery Dharma.
Recovery Dharma will meet at noon today in the historic Buddha Hall, the yellow building next door. Will we be able to go through the front, or do we need to go through the back? Go through the back. I'll try and have somebody out there to direct you. But basically, so they're going up the front steps, turn left, at the end of the building, turn right. Go to the last door on the right, take your shoes off down there, and come up through the ladder.
We promise it's easier than it sounds. Will there be work practice? Will there be together action today?
No, they're on Saturdays from 3 to 5 is work practice, and that's a very good way to get to know other people in the Sangha.
Wow.
I also wanted to say that I noticed on the way over from there were a couple of bikes that somebody, I noticed on the way over here this morning, we have a bike rack there and we have a bike rack out in front. And I kind of thought in this chilly weather, maybe nobody would bring their bikes, but there were 2 bikes there. So at this time, just do it's up to us and simplify and sometimes ride your bikes if you can. We've got 2 bike racks, which were donated to us in honor of a person who died a few years ago. So, that's all.
We're the maniacs who rode bikes this morning.
Me too.
I just wanted to offer, this is a weird design thing. I'm a new bike rider. I didn't know this. The bike rack by the shed is backwards. Would you mind if we turned it around? Great.
There being no more announcements, let's end with the 4 great vows. Please repeat after me. So a little formally, these are a big deal. They're totally impossible, and that's why we vow them. All beings, one body.
All beings, one body.
I vow to liberate.
I vow to liberate.
Blind passions, one root.
Blind passions, one root.
I vow to terminate.
I vow to terminate.
Dharma gates, one mind.
Dharma gates, one mind.
I vow to penetrate.
I vow to penetrate.
The great way of Buddha.
The great way of Buddha.
I vow to realize.
I vow to realize.
Now, as you stand, please straighten your mat and cushion if you are sitting with your mat touching the rug. If you are sitting in the other mats, we would be grateful if you would stack the mats on this side in that far corner, and the cushions go on the little cubby bookshelf. And on this side of the Buddha Hall, the mats go on the stage, and the cushions go right next to them.
Can I add one quick thing to that?
I don't know. Try.
When we're moving the mats and cushions, can we wait until after the 3 vows?
That would be a very good idea.
Can I make one of it?
Yes, please.
So, if you look over at those ones, they've really been filed beautifully. It took some time to do it. After there's an opening at the front of most of the mats, which can be look very drooly and not taken care of. So we put it to the back and really make a point to make the file look cared for. And then the cushions also, we just the way we place them and pay attention. It's instructions.